Welcome to this partner showcase. My name is Guy Bartram. I'm the Director of Product Marketing at VMware for our cloud providers, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Andrew Cruz from Rooted in South Africa. Andrew, can you start with a quick introduction about yourself?
Hi. Yes, thanks, Guy. My name's Andrew Cruz. I'm the Managing Director of Rooted Hosting, or Rooted. Some people say Routed. We don't care what you call us. Just call us. So yes, we're based in South Africa. We are a born in the cloud company, which is, I think, quite unusual, quite different. I'd like to say unique, but let's just say unusual, because I'm not sure whether there's anybody quite like us out there. What makes us different is that we are a cloud operator. Now, other people might say they're also cloud operators, but that's our sole business. All we do is operate VMware clouds. We don't offer managed services. We engage a partner channel, who are typically managed service providers, ISPs, sometimes software developers, who are offering those services on top of the cloud and who choose not to build their own cloud. So we're engaging companies in a sort of asset-like fashion. And we weren't a managed services business beforehand and suddenly pivoted or changed or added this to our service portfolio. We started just over 5 years ago, so we're established. We've got 5 years of credibility, and we started from zero, from scratch, as a VMware cloud operator, and we built up from
there. So your customers then are partners, like you said, partner channel, MSPs,
yes.
Software vendors, that type of thing?
Yes.
Okay, great. And what are the type of the services then you offer them?
We pride ourselves on building the archetypal VMware cloud. So where VMware offers extensions, we will offer those extensions. Where VMware offers integrations, we will offer those integrations. We're almost setting ourselves up as a vendor. We're almost an extension of VMware as the VMware cloud here in South Africa. We're in fact going through distributors now who are distributing us to their channel as well. So yes, VMware cloud, as in production hosting. We also offer cloud director availability for ground to cloud or cloud to cloud replication and disaster recovery. We have integrations with Veeam for backup and recovery, Cloud Connect replication, Cloud Connect backup. We offer the container services extension, and we're rolling out Tanzu Basic and Tanzu Advanced on our infrastructure. We offer the object storage extension. We offer App Launchpad and Bitnami. And the reason for this is that because our channel are resellers themselves, they need to know that we can do anything that their customers might want. So we have to offer that full kind of suite of VMware Cloud products on Cloud Director, so that if anybody asks us for it, it's there. So yeah, it's we need to offer that granularly to our partner channel.
How have you seen, you said you've been running for 5 years, how have you seen the partner channel kind of evolve and the services they're asking of you change?
I think that's quite an interesting question. Initially, we had a fair amount of ISPs that were engaging us. I think it was due to the fact that ISPs are traditionally also hosts of some kind. They're also doing mostly websites, which is not specifically, I think, ideal for a VMware cloud, but they already have the mindset around hosting in a data center, where now I think over the last few years, and particularly during COVID, we're getting a lot more engagement from managed service providers who've typically offered IT operations rather than web or dev type services to customers on premise already using VMware and now wanting to migrate into a data center. And that's definitely been catalyzed by COVID, by work from home. But it was always coming. I think this has just accelerated it a bit.
And one of the key kind of focuses of today is your Cloud Verified status. So do you want to tell us what Cloud Verified is and what it means to Rooted and to your customers as well?
Sure. So Cloud Verified is a branding which VMware have provided to a limited number of partners. It is a certification, so you need to qualify for it. You need to evidence that you have a certain stack of software that you run and that it's at a certain level. That's very easy for us to do. This is the only thing we do, and we keep our infrastructure up to date. So actually, we were the first Cloud Verified VMware partner in Africa. And in fact, it came up on my on one of my feeds that it's the 2-year anniversary at the moment. It was during VMworld, the last face-to-face VMworld that we had 2 years ago, that it was announced.
That's right.
And I remember we shook hands, and there's a photo of us somewhere on social media, Guy.
We did, yeah.
Yeah. So for us, it's very important because, as I said before, we are positioning ourselves as an extension of VMware. So we need to achieve whatever competencies, whatever certifications or other stamps that VMware offers. And there is a synergy here in that VMware wants the end user customer to get a good experience on the cloud. And what this branding, what this certification allows that end user to do is to be confident that the cloud that they're using, the cloud that they're migrating to or moving to, is at a standard, a good standard that VMware approve of and rubber stamp. So for us, it was a no-brainer. We got our cloud verification as soon as we can. Last year, we also achieved VMware Principal Partner status. And if VMware offer any other, and we're also DR certified as well, as you know, with the disaster recovery through VMware Cloud Director availability. So whenever these are released, then we go for them immediately. I think it's something which benefits all parties involved. VMware get to promote their partners, the partners get to promote their clouds, the customers they know that they're moving to somebody who's credible.
It's like a quality seal of approval, right? They're going to get that same kind of VMware experience that they would have been able to build for themselves on premise, but now that they're going to get this through a service provider who can manage it at scale and deliver an SLA and quality service for them.
Yeah, and look, I think people are quite reasonably skeptical about cloud providers because they can't see and touch and feel and understand what it is underneath that sort of virtualization stack. And this is one thing which allows people to overcome, I think, that mental hurdle of, oh my God, I don't have this in my full control anymore. I wonder what they're up to on the back end. So it's definitely something which promotes that feeling of confidence and reliability.
What are some of the results that partners have seen? Are there any specific stories that you can share or which can demonstrate that value?
Yeah, I think there's one. In fact, there's a recent case study which has come out for a construction company here in South Africa called Stefanuti Stocks. And they were actually on a VMware cloud in Europe. And they weren't unhappy with it per se, but they were unhappy with the performance of the connectivity, latency issues, etc., from South Africa into Europe. Yeah. And as soon as they were aware that A, VMware had a Cloud Verified program, and B, that we were the first Cloud Verified partner in Africa, obviously also in South Africa, they approached us and said, please show us what you can do. And within a few months, they'd migrated from Europe into South Africa. And they're absolutely delighted with the outcome because they're now getting as good, if not better, a service than they were before. They're getting a local partner that's working with them. They, as I said, they're a construction company that have a lot of different divisions. So their IT department pitches itself as a service provider to these businesses. They act quite independently, almost like a reseller. Sort of shared services kind of division. So for them, they needed to ensure that their end users, i.e. their internal divisions in the business, were getting a good experience from a performance, security, availability perspective. And that's what they've got. And we work in partnership with them when they need assistance. As I say, we don't do managed services, but we certainly aggregate our technical expertise to assist them in where they're going with in the future with that infrastructure.
Yeah, and I think a key point there to maybe zoom in on is your customers, your direct customers being partners, and they're obviously having another layer of kind of, if you like, tenancy in between where they've got their customers at the end. You're obviously set up then to provide them the visibility and granularity for them to see how they meter their end customers from your platform all the way through.
Exactly, yeah. So we've actually built our own metering and billing system on the back end. Sometimes things that come off the shelf are not as granular as what's required. So we've got that as well. We work very much in partnership with our customers. In the main, those customers are service providers. So our persona, I think that's a VMware term, is cloud operator. We deal with cloud service providers, and they will then deal with end user customers. Now, sometimes there's even another layer there. Sometimes we're dealing with almost a wholesaling business that's dealing with resellers, and then the end user customer. We're always mindful of the end user customer. They know they're on a VMware cloud. But ultimately, what we are trying to do is ensure that our customer, the service provider, looks good in front of their customer. We want to give them a good experience as well.
And Andrew, you mentioned, so you're obviously covering South Africa, but are you covering other areas in Africa as well?
We are. I would say yes, but not yet. We're actually quite far down the way in an engagement with a company in Botswana. That's quite an interesting one because we're doing something here which I'm not sure other VMware cloud provider partners are offering. What we're calling it is Cloud Director as a Service. So we're offering to build, manage, update, and support VMware Cloud Director and the associated modules that come with that on customer-owned hardware. So for service providers like this one in Botswana, where there are, say, data sovereignty issues and locality issues, they don't want to use a South Africa data center. They need to do something internally. We can still offer to build that on hardware which is owned by that customer. We're already doing that for 2 other customers here in South Africa. Often our service provider partners already have hardware. They've already invested, and writing off that investment and moving everything onto our cloud is just not an option.
Yeah.
Also, strategically, they may want to take a larger slice of that value chain by having the hardware and ultimately renting it to the end users. So we engage those service provider partners and can offer to provide the entire virtualization stack with the software that sits on top of it in exactly the same way that we do it on our own infrastructure, but on their hardware in their data center. So there's a sort of middle ground there that we're offering to people, and it's once again quite cloudy on the commercials. It's a monthly fee based on usage. So it works very nicely for all parties involved, and it's something that we can offer to people even if they don't want to move to our cloud. At the same time, since we're operating all of these infrastructures, if they need to extend into our cloud or if they need to use our cloud for backup or disaster recovery, then those options are very easily deployed and made available to those partner customers. So actually, that's the cloud story, isn't it? When you go to an end customer and say, why are you doing your own infrastructure? Didn't you know that you can move that into the cloud and pay monthly? We're going to service providers and saying, why are you doing your own infrastructure? Didn't you know that you could use a specialist and move it to the cloud and just pay monthly? So it's a cloud story, a grandiose cloud story on steroids.
Yeah, I love it. And then you're obviously presenting that cloud verified stack again and again and again. So it's this known quantity, this known cloud configuration, which you can support in a sustainable manner. But also, you raise a really good point. If they want to burst out of Botswana or wherever they are into your cloud, these are cloud verified stacks using the same technologies. They're built to provide that interoperability between them. There's very clear integration points and capabilities there for replicating, for connecting, for utilizing different consumption models and bursting potentially. That's a really, really nice value proposition. I can see how that's very successful.
The reason it works is that we present ourselves as the experts in VMware Cloud Director. And once one understands that, we're not necessarily presenting ourselves as the experts in storage. It's obviously a part of that cloud. But once one understands that we're the experts in VMware Cloud Director, then everything else kind of becomes irrelevant. And pushing that envelope a little bit and extending to offering VMware Cloud Director as a service is a natural progression once one understands that. And this is really the only thing that we do. We do VMware Cloud Director. So, we are the experts, it's acknowledged. We have very close relationships with the technical, the marketing, the promotional teams at VMware. As you know, we're on calls with when we're getting feedback from VMware as to the next versions of products, and we give feedback and influence that. So it's quite a natural extension for us to offer that on partners' hardware.
And speaking of kind of the next version of stuff that's VMware's bringing out, what is coming to your portfolio that you're going to be able to offer as self-service cloud consumption to your partners and customers?
So I think the most exciting sort of new offering is we're integrating with Tanzu, with TKG-M. There isn't a lot of demand for it, I'll be honest, in South Africa. But what demand there is I think, very important and very valuable. And I think particularly here in South Africa, we are a bit behind the rest of the world. So I'm not sure that applies to, say, Europe or the US or the Far East, but it certainly does apply here. But we are seeing quite a lot of interest from our larger enterprise customers in utilizing that on our platform. And I think that is also a bit of an extension of them understanding the reliability of the platform, understanding that centralized management user interface that you get with Cloud Director, seeing the other extensions in Cloud Director and understanding that everything fits into one place and be able to manage it from that central GUI, where I think there's a concern about sprawl, about multi-cloud sprawl, and about not having that kind of control if that were done where developers can pick and choose what they want to do. So I think for us that's a very exciting sort of next step to properly integrate our infrastructure and syndicate it with Tanzu Kubernetes Grid, in Tanzu Basic and Tanzu Standard.
Yeah, I think it's, you raise an important point. Everyone's at their different stage in the journey with digital transformation and what that means to them in terms of app modernization. And everyone is also being driven by different competitive pressures. And once you start seeing competition developing applications that is going to be able to reduce their costs, increase their speed of delivery, your natural next step is to try and either meet them or exceed them, and that's going to involve modernizing your portfolio. So it's kind of essential to have that platform, then that cloud verified platform that delivers not only infrastructure as a service from a more traditional virtual machine kind of perspective with all of the virtual networking and storage, but also the next generation. And one of the key things I think a value prop from a cloud verified partner is it's not, I'm going to call it the Wild West, but the Wild West for developers is a big place. It's in hyperscale. There's so much open source that can be used in development projects that they inherently become insecure. And that can be a big problem for large organizations. So providing the secure guardrails with the quality and security that VMware provides, plus you're getting all of the capability you would get in a hyperscaler in terms of native Kubernetes, and all of the application catalog securely tested and functionally tested and security tested by Bitnami into your cloud. It's the perfect full offering all in one place.
Yes, suddenly it becomes an extensive and as you say, a full suite, something which you can present as a whole. And it's actually reflective of where we started out over 5 years ago, when we didn't just build one little cloud and say, here's Cloud Director. We built two infrastructures. We were replicating between the two from day one. We were doing backup and DR from day one. we were doing the full stack of VMware Cloud Foundation softwares from day one. We needed to offer something which was complete from day one. And I think that this is a complete offering for developers. And it's also not the answer to every question. And we say the same about our Cloud Director infrastructure. It's not the answer to every hosting question. Often people should be hosting on their own infrastructure for various reasons. Sometimes it's compliance, sometimes it's performance. But often people should be keeping their own infrastructure. Yeah, we would still recommend in a co-location facility because, that's facility's job. That's what they do. That's their specialism. I wouldn't be running one's own server room. But it's horses for courses. And sometimes your hyperscale clouds are the right way to go for certain workloads. And sometimes a VMware cloud is the right way to go for certain workloads. I think it should be the first option that people think about if they're running VMware already. Why wouldn't you move to a VMware cloud? If all you want to do is get off premise and stop buying your own hardware and stop managing and maintaining and supporting it, then I think a VMware cloud is the obvious first choice. One might rule it out, but that's okay. You'd start with that. And I think that something like Tanzu Basic or Tanzu Standard on a VMware cloud is not going to always be the obvious first choice for a developer. But I think that if you're already using the VMware cloud, and that's where we are seeing the demand, people already using our cloud, extending that usage into developer practices with Kubernetes is a very logical next step, and it does complete that picture.
And like you say, you've got partners who have solution specialists and capabilities themselves to assist customers with that next journey, because sometimes it's I've got the resources to manage VMs and I'm quite happy doing that, but I don't have the skills and resources in machine learning or AI applications, which I need. And this is where I personally think that successful service provider for now and for the future is one who has a good partnering strategy.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you should say that, because we've actually soft launched a partner program where we are curating content, majority from VMware, like the videos you do on Fridays, or data sheets, or the content from Partner University. And we're offering this to our partners to enable them and to facilitate them in selling, marketing, and in operating our cloud. At the same time, that partner program will be extended so that we can try and hook up partners who are already using our platform, who have certain specialities that other partners need. So what we're trying to do is to create this ecosystem around VMware Cloud here in South Africa, starting with our partners. And potentially, what we're also thinking about doing is trying to maybe put together a group of VMware Cloud providers who are similarly minded, and form an industry body, the VMware Cloud industry body here in South Africa, to provide an even greater level of confidence and assurance to end users and service providers that they're using a reliable, secure, and highly available stack.
Well, I think you just hit the nail on the head for my last question, which was why should partners and customers work with Rooted? Is there anything you want to add to that whilst we sort of finish off here?
Well, maybe not add to, but maybe just summarize or reinforce. The fact is that there are a lot of people out there doing cloud. At least they call it cloud. It might or might not be what the fancy definition of cloud is, but let's say there are a lot of people out there doing hosting. You never quite know what you're going to get. And there are a lot of people that are doing it quite cheaply because they feel that it should be a cost type of play. And we've never felt that. We always feel that this is more of a value type of play. And I think we've had this discussion before, Guy, on a previous discussion where we actually started our business because we believe that end user businesses deserve a reliable, highly available, secure, and performant cloud infrastructure. And in many instances, they're not getting it. And they shouldn't put up with that. And they should utilize somebody who has has got those features. And I think that the Cloud Verified program from VMware, plus Principal Partner, plus a number of other things that we do will really provide people that comfort and that reassurance that if they move their VMware stack into a VMware cloud like ours, then they will achieve that. They will get a good experience, the experience they deserve.
Yeah, I'm seeing this more and more. It's becoming not a public, private, hyperscale. The nomenclature kind of and the way people think about cloud needs to change. It needs to become, it's the right cloud for the job, number one.
Yeah.
And number two, public, private, whatever you want to look at it as, the right answer in my mind is a VMware cloud, which gives you the cloud verified, sustainable performance, security, quality, SLA, and support critically that you probably wouldn't get from other clouds, and you certainly wouldn't get from a hyperscaler.
Absolutely.
And some key differences there, which I think partners like yourselves are delivering on and differentiating in the market.
Yeah. The polite way of saying it, there's another VMware colleague of yours that uses this term, pragmatic cloud. That I think the VMware cloud allows partners and end users to do cloud pragmatically. There's a lot of granularity in the feature set, in particular on the networking side. And we offer a lot of options when it comes to connecting into us, whether that's a physical cross-connect, whether that's a virtual cross-connect through the Terraco Africa Cloud Exchange, whether that's over the internet with a layer 3 VPN or extending layer 2. All of those options are available. And so for people that want to do things pragmatically, then those options are there. The impolite way of talking about it is the dirty cloud. People are just sometimes cowboying things, and nobody wants to admit to that. Nobody wants to say we're not doing everything by best practice. But when you have a lot of these options available, the alternates available, then you're able to offer that to customers, even if they just want to quickly cowboy it now. It's not that we approve of that, but it's there and it's happening. And I'd much rather that people cowboy it onto a VMware cloud than onto something else. At least when they get here, they know that they're secure and performance and highly available.
Yeah, exactly. Andrew, thank you so much for today. It's been really insightful to talk to you and find out your views of the industry, but also find out what Rooted does critically and and how the Cloud Verified stack is supporting you. Lastly, how should your potential partners of the future and customers get in touch with Rooted?
Well, obviously through our website, I think that's the best way. www.rooted.co.za or www.routed.co.za. Either one will get you to the same place. Our contact details are on there. We know a lot of partners in South Africa. We've spoken to most people already. So, I'd like to say the best way to contact us is to pick up the phone and call me on my mobile.
We won't give out that number.
No, but people should know.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Andrew. Appreciate your time.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the invitation, Guy.